How many times have you listened to a presentation and the speaker just sounded like a robot? Like they were reading a script or like they didn't even care what they were talking about? I know that personally, I have listened to way too many of these kinds of presentations. In order to avoid this situation by keeping the audience's attention and being successful in delivering your message, as a presenter, you must be able to deliver your speech as if you're having a conversation with somebody, like a peer, somebody that you're comfortable with, anything like that, as well as using your body language in order to convey your message better. So first, I will tell you about how having a conversation will keep your audience entertained and captivate your audience. Second of all, I will tell you about how using your body language will keep your viewers' attention and make them want to keep listening. Having a conversation with your audience builds a relationship. It breaks the ice, if you will, with your viewers in order to relate to first their heart and then their minds. In his book, Talk Like TED, Carmine Gallo states, "True persuasion occurs only after you have built an emotional rapport with your listeners and have gained their trust." In most conversations that we have with our peers or people that we're comfortable with, we tend to be fairly passionate about what we're discussing, whether we realize it or not. That conversation then becomes both part of you as a speaker and your peers as the audience. In just a little bit, we are going to look at a snippet of one of Amanda Palmer's presentations called The Art of Asking, which was said to be the most talked about presentation of 2013 at TED Talk. So pay attention to how she communicates with the audience, how she talks to them, and how she captivates them, and also how passionate she is about what she's saying.
So I didn't always make my living from music. For about the 5 years after graduating from an upstanding liberal arts university, this was my day job. I was a self-employed living statue called the 8-Foot Bride, and I love telling people I did this for a job because everybody always wants to know who are these freaks in real life. Hello. I painted myself white one day, stood on a box, put a hat or a can at my feet, and when someone came by and dropped in money, I handed them a flower and some intense eye contact. And if they didn't take the flower, I threw in a gesture of sadness and longing as they walked away. So I had the most profound encounters with people, especially lonely people who looked like they hadn't talked to anyone in weeks. And we would get this beautiful moment of prolonged eye contact being allowed in a city street, and we would sort of fall in love a little bit. And my eyes would say, "Thank you, I see you." And their eyes would say, "Nobody ever sees me. Thank you."
Carmine Gallo goes on to say, Palmer is passionate about the topic because it's core to her identity. She practiced for hours and, as a result, she commanded the stage. Whether we realize it or not, we usually use some sort of body language as we're having a conversation with someone, whether it be our posture. If we're slouched over, we usually aren't super engaged, but if we're sitting up, then we're probably engaged and we're interested in what the speaker is talking about. We need to do the same thing in our presentations in order to make the audience feel as though we're casually talking to them, but our body language has to pair up with our tone in order to succeed in our overall delivery and as to not confuse the audience. Gallo supports this thinking when he says, he simply found that when people expressed a message of emotional content, that message would be misconstrued if the speaker's tone and body language were not congruent or consistent with the message. If you want to be truly successful in the delivery of your overall presentation, you have to practice your gestures almost as much as you have to practice your actual speech. If the two don't pair, then you're going to leave your audience confused and they're going to not trust your overall message. So Gallo also says, believe in what you're saying. If you don't believe what you're saying, your movements will be awkward and not natural. So you can't expect your audience to believe your message if you don't. So have a strong and confident presence in your body language that makes them want to keep listening. Your body language and the overall way that you carry yourself will give your viewers an assumption of how the presentation is going to go. So make sure you are confident and use your body language in a way that will captivate their attention. So overall, one of the best ways to build relationships with your audience is to just simply have a conversation with them. Make them feel as if you were talking to them about your everyday life. So in order to give this feeling of talking to a peer or a colleague, just build a relationship with their hearts first and then their minds. Appeal to them and captivate them. Another great way, as I've talked about, to maintain this audience's attention is to use your hand gestures. Just any gestures or nonverbal communication, your body language, just to convey the message to their viewers better. Carmine Gallo also states, your delivery and gestures, mastered through hours and hours of practice, will enhance your overall message, but without passion and practice, your presence will be severely diminished. Your strength as a speaker comes from the inside.